You're watching Dukascopy TV. I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD from LeapRate, your Forex industry news source. And today I'm joined in the studio in Geneva by Marc Spaelti, Chief Operating Officer of Dukascopy Bank. Hello, Marc.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
Nice to meet you. Really what I'd like to talk about today is there's been some discussions recently in the Forex industry as a whole regarding the whole future of the execution model. Whilst brokers are moving to A-book execution models where they transfer their trades directly out to the liquidity provider, some industry sources are saying that the B-book model is here to stay for at least another 5 years. So I'd like to gain your perspective on that and how it's beneficial or even less beneficial to the industry as a whole.
That indeed is a very interesting question. I think we have seen a bit of a development in the last few years, and essentially the moving from an A-book type where everything that is traded is passed to the next person is not always the most efficient way to do your business, neither for the bank nor for the client, in fact.
Right, I see. So in terms of the actual time, I read a report the other day recently that, just actually less than a week ago, that in fact some of the major banks that provide not only liquidity but also technology to brokerages and to liquidity providers, wholesale liquidity providers, are saying that only 40 or 50% of the whole industry, including institutional and retail, is on the A-book model, and that the B-book and internalizing trades is likely to stay for 5 years. I mean, do you think that that's likely, or do you think it will just never go away and there will always be a need for B-book?
As long as the foreign exchange market is an open market where providers are free to quote their own price and do not have to go through an exchange, the B-book model will stay.
Yeah, that I certainly agree with you. And I think even if they bring in execution rules, such as which they're doing now, and they did it in the United States last year, where it has to go through a central counterparty and you have to have post-trade reporting, but only on the institutional side. Just made the retail ones have very big capital adequacy requirements. Now you have in Europe, the whole system will have to be centralized with a central counterparty, and therefore the authorities can go and take reports off the system and see how they arrived at these things. But I think you're right. I think even despite that, it's still over the counter. If they're going to go through an exchange, this might be the solution. Do you ever see that happening?
I think it's not ready to go through the exchange. I mean, obviously, if you're a large bank, a large entity, and Dukascopy counts to the larger players as well, when you have clients that are buying and selling at the same time, it is simply not efficient to go and pass everything to the next person or to an exchange. Very often it's more profitable for both clients that are on both sides if there can be an internal match without having to go through an exchange where your post-trade costs will simply rise.
Yes, I agree. I think it's inefficient. I also think that you have, even if now, today, even you A-book everything and the spread is very low and you have a very high infrastructure, very high level infrastructure, the cost of exactly that, the reporting costs and all the monitoring costs, are going to outweigh any commissions earned on trades, I would have thought. So in terms of that, Dukascopy's J4X system is probably very, very appealing to white label partners that want to engender a long-term viability among their clients, because it is an integrated system which provides all the specific bespoke technology and the liquidity provision via a Swiss bank. Therefore, is totally offers peace of mind to end users. So this is very likely to be one of its main points, I would imagine.
Indeed, we are very, very successful in onboarding new white label partners. The community of people using SWFX system is constantly growing. That means there can be more internal matches. Clients can add their own liquidity into the system, which is then taken by other clients of another white label partner. Which is in a way already almost like an exchange, but without the fees of an exchange, because it all happens in a system which is really has very low costs.
That is very interesting, and also that brings on to another point, that if you can operate that kind of ecosystem that emulates an exchange, you don't have to be subject to the bureaucracy and the fact that you've got an external company dictating what happens within your order flow.
Correct. And don't forget, the way that Dukascopy's pricing model works, where we receive liquidity from a lot of different providers, well, by choosing the best bid, the best ask, it guarantees by itself that the price remains neutral for everybody. There is no different price for different clients. Everybody receives the same price, which in itself is the idea of an exchange, that everybody can see, has a transparent market and sees the same price.
Yes, that's actually very, very valid, because it may be that the transparency that's offered there could be a reason why some of the loyal SWFX end users will stick with the broker that's giving them that particular platform, because they know that that's the case, rather than using, for example, a white label licensed MT4 platform with a logo of a different broker that they don't know. Once it's gone away from that broker, they don't know what the actual prime broker or the liquidity provider or technology company is doing with those trades.
Yes, indeed. I do believe that most clients using a white label partner system are actually aware that in bottom line, it is a Dukascopy system. And having promoted our systems now for a few years, we are very sure that we're offering a very homogeneous and very stable environment to the client that wants to trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I totally understand. Actually, that's something that I hadn't thought about, because it's you see so many concentration on the very ubiquitous white label version of the MetaTrader platform, which has a company logo, costs a few $1,000s to set yourself up as a white label, but then the user doesn't know where the trades are going after they've left the broker, even if the broker has very good intentions of putting everything through a straight-through processing. So that's actually something which is very interesting. You mentioned that the company's evolved, and that you've had a very long-standing technological background in the company. I noticed that Dukascopy is about to celebrate its 10th anniversary in business. This is a milestone in the retail forex industry, because it's a relatively modern industry. You've probably seen a huge amount of changes in the whole execution model just in the last 2 years, let alone 10 years. So what do you think is the next thing after you've had 10 years of solid technology provision? What's the next area to move into for Dukascopy?
The areas that we're looking to expand into are to add more instruments. We have already started by adding some CFDs. Mm-hmm. The range of CFD instruments that will be greatly increased over the coming years, going from a dozen to probably a few hundreds within a few years. The other area where we're having very high success is the whole idea of offering the client a Facebook-type environment where the individual trader is not sitting alone on the computer, but he has a community where he can exchange his views, he can put comments on other people's trades, he can get other traders to comment on his own ideas, and that helps him to get a better informed trading decision. It also helps him to feel good about what he's doing, and we have a lot of success with that.
That's right. This is the way now. It's a community experience all round, I would suggest. And what you're doing is keeping the very robust Swiss technology, as well as engaging the modernity of social trading, and that's very clever.
Absolutely. That is really the thing that helps to keep the client with us, to feel that he gets an added value that he doesn't necessarily get from another broker, where he only gets a trading platform and maybe has an automated trading strategy. Mm-hmm. In the Dukascopy world, he gets all of that and even more.
Marc, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening at the Geneva Forex event.
Thank you, Andrew. With great pleasure.
I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD of LeapRate, your Forex industry news source. This is Dukascopy TV. Thank you for watching. See you next time.